Let's add some distance. Multiple pit stops. Mix in some street circuit wrist. And let's turn it on in Townsville. And Will Brown has an Armour All pole.
Oh, they're in hard down there. He is driving the wheels off this car right now.
And that is one polished performance for Will Brown. Career victory number 9 for Anton De Pasquale. His first podium of 2023, and what a way to do it.
The weekend has come to an end up in beautiful Townsville, and I don't want to leave because the sun is still shining as we begin the Schick cool-down lap. Chad Nailon and James Pavey, who has been chasing the sunshine all the way from Lords in England back here. Was that you in the long room making a fuss, the long bar up there at Lords, James?
No, it wasn't, but I enjoyed the cricket.
I bet.
At the time of publication, the Aussies are in a bit of trouble. In the current match, I think where are we now?
Got a bit of work to do.
I'm jet lagged, Chad, but man, what a weekend of racing. Crazy, and obviously, refueling races, 250k, it's all happening, and today was a pretty big day for the sport.
It was a big day for the sport. So Anton De Pasquale, Shell V-Par Racing and a Ford Mustang getting Ford's first win in a Gen 3 car in the Gen 3 era. That was a big, big result. The championship picture has drastically shrunk. Will Brown getting that win on Saturday. Chaz Mostert up on the podium as well. Loads to talk about. Some great results that we'll get to a little later in the pod in some of the support categories as well, which I think is definitely worth shouting out. It is really beautiful weather, as you'd always expect here in Townsville. We're standing at the back of the Cool Drive garage. Unfortunately, not the race that they were hoping for in either Super 2 or the Supercars, but we'll start, as we always do, down this end of the paddock.
Yeah, it was a frustrating day for these guys, obviously across categories. Obviously, Aaron Love was caught up in a pretty early race collision, I believe, with Cooper Murray. That was being investigated after the race. And it's sad to see because Aaron was really keen to sort of get towards the front, and he was towards the front because he is in the title fight, but those results can really sting. Yeah,
so Mirko and the team are doing a little bit of packing up down there at the moment. There's also been some rumours abound that we'll see a wild card for this team a little later in the year when we get to Mount Panorama. A lot of news going around at Newlawn Racing this week with Tim Slade and James Golding. So let's start there. It all started when the news broke earlier in this weekend that there was going to be a bit of a change here. So Matt Cook, a guy who we've spoken to plenty of times on this podcast, no longer with this team, and Pete Gibber is stepping up to now take on that role of running the team hands-on. So that was all quite a bit of a shock when we rolled in here the other day.
Yeah, and a bit of a hard weekend for this team, rather. Obviously, yesterday they came together, and seldom do teammates come together in supercars, but that was quite a big hit. Slade obviously apologised to Golding for the incident. And then today was a bit of a mixed bag as well. Obviously, that they are being investigated over a pit lane incident as well, which was pretty hairy, and I'm sure they won't be proud of that. The Brock was sort of hindered in that incident, but a tough weekend for these guys, and it started all the way through.
Yeah, all right, let's see if we can get a word with the boss. He's down here having a chat to some of the team members. I might see if it might be okay to interrupt Peter for a moment. Peter, I'm on the podcast, the Schick Cool Down pod. I just wanted to quickly say g'day. How you doing, mate? Your weekend, happy, unhappy?
Yeah, a little bit average, I suppose. That last drive by James was pretty cool. Had a bit of bad luck with Tim's car. We had a fitting on an oil cooler come loose, and that cost us the race there. But yeah, look, other than that, it wasn't bad.
Pete, next round, a bit closer to home in Sydney. You must be pretty excited for that.
Yeah, no, look, we'll go back and go through the cars, and it's our hometown, or my hometown. So hopefully we get a little bit more luck there.
And we saw that little scare when Jack LeBrock's car was coming into the pits. You guys were pushing Timmy's car back out. Have you guys had a chance to talk to your next door neighbours about what happened?
No, look, I went straight over and apologised. And look, we're not here to ruin anyone else's day, and they were in the hunt big time. So I'm just so glad that we didn't collide and ruin their day permanently. So
agreed. And I'm glad everyone's okay off the back of that one. Everyone just had a little bit of an inhale of breath. Finally, the big news broke early in the week that you were going to step up and be team principal. How did you go as a team boss this week?
Probably the report card probably wasn't so good, but I think the team is gelling, and we're it's onwards and upwards, as they say.
Cool, mate. We'll see you in Sydney.
No worries. Thank you.
Thanks, Pete Gibber, stopping for a quick chat with us. Hey, I just want to get a quick guy on the way out here. I just spotted Ronan Murphy. Hey, Ronan, we're on the podcast. Greg Murphy's son. We're going to see you having a pedal very soon, I believe, in the coverage, Sydney. What are you going to be doing?
In terms of the racing stuff or the other
racing?
Yeah. So round 3 of Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge. So yeah, really looking forward to that. We're feeling pretty good at the moment, and car's really good and team's good. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Did you enjoy just being a race fan here this week?
Yeah, it was really cool. It was it's nice. You don't really get to do it that often, so it was sort of a last-minute thing. But it was cool to be able to come up here, and honestly, the vibe here is just amazing. It's such a cool event, and the heat as well. You know, Melbourne's not that warm at the moment, so it was a big big culture shock coming up here. But no, it's awesome and a really cool event, and glad to be able to. You know, so many people have been so kind this weekend and let me have a look around and peep inside. So yeah, it's been really awesome.
Hey, let's all just cancel our flights and hang out for a week.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Yeah.
Cool to see Ronan Murphy back again at a Supercars track. We had him at Tasmania running in Porsche Michelin Sprint Cup and Sprint Challenge. We'll have him back for the next round of their championship down in Sydney. And Greg Murphy, a good friend of Supercars in many respects. So cool to have Junior Murph still wandering around. We're at the back of Matt Stone Racing.
Yeah, I mean, the key question after Darwin, obviously on everyone's lips, we spoke to Jack then. They won that race from pole. Would they be able to carry it over? Jack Starr up the front row. That's a pretty good indication that there's speed in those cars. But like we said just then, there was a bit of a mix-up with the Newland Racing guys in pit lane. And obviously, you know, maybe a podium was on the offing for these guys. But there is speed there still. So they'll be ones to watch in Sydney for sure.
Absolutely. It's just becoming a regular occurrence, isn't it? Seeing this team operating somewhere near the front. I'm going to quickly go in there. I've interviewed Jack LeBrock about 20 times this week, so I might see if I can get Matt Stone instead. The boys are having a bit of a chat. We've got Jack Bellotti back here again. They're digging into some snakes and all sorts of a bit of trail mix going on here for Wes. No, thank you, Wes. I appreciate that. I wanted a quick word with you, mate. We're on the podcast. Just wanted to say well done. The speed here is, again, still there. Your thoughts off the back of a couple of big couple of days?
Look, I mean, we're getting good at qualifying on the front row on Sunday, but we just got to convert it into more results. Unfortunately, the safety car caused by our other entry really didn't help us today. So it's a little bit of just bad luck, or divine justice, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, unfortunately, just not our day when the race went out, when the lights went out. So make the most of it and have another go.
Matty, does the win in Darwin change your expectations now that you've got a car on the front row? Does it sort of feel like you should be there more often?
Look, I mean, that's what we've been building towards this year. You know, like we've had a lot of top 10s in the early couple of rounds. 3 rounds in a row, we've managed to put it on the front row on Sunday. So, you know, it's one of those things that, you know, we know we can do it. We need to keep working on the whole package, get qualifying race and everything. And just need to keep doing it more often and show everyone that we want to stay there and we're going to stay there.
And a bit of a halfway report card for the other bloke, Cam. It's his first season in Supercars. It's hard to get a bit of a foothold in this series because it's so competitive. But how have you found Cam's first half of the season?
Yeah, look, it's been great. You know, all the new guys come in and they just want to set the world on fire every day of the week. But what we look for in a rookie season is those moments of brilliance where you get it all together. And you know, he didn't quite qualify yesterday, but today made a huge improvement into the 15, thereabouts. You know, Tassie was a great breakout round for him, you know, going there and getting a couple of top 10 qualifyings and finish. So I think we've got a lot of potential there. Just need to keep.
Sweet, perfect. Thank you, Matt. All right, we'll let him get back to chowing down on some snakes over here, getting the sugar intake back up off the back of a big weekend. And Jack LeBrock just looks right at home, doesn't he? I mean, everything about him seems to be gelling. We saw him quickest in that Friday practice session. He just sat there at the press conference, looked like a man who belonged in that position. I see Eddie Jones hanging out by himself. Let's go and have a word with our good buddy Andy. Andy Jones. Hello. We're on the podcast. No cameras. Right. You can relax for a moment.
I'm always relaxed, mate.
Yeah, that's actually very true. Hey, we had you back in the commentary box calling some of the support action this weekend. Anything catch your eye on track?
Yeah, some of the crowd shots caught my eye. There's some pretty good people up here in Townsville with some epic tans going, which I'm always a fan of. In terms of racing, I don't know, that battle between James Courtney and Dave Reynolds for P Nowhere on the last lap with 2 corners to go was pretty impressive, wasn't it? You would think that was for the win. Outside of that, pretty impressive by Heimgartner, to be honest, within our garage here. And a little shout out to my man Jack Smith. He had a pretty good day too. So to finish P14, outside of that, mate, sunshine up here is always wonderful relative to the absolutely cold ass weather that we're getting down south at the minute. So yeah, happy to be here, but pretty pumped to go home. What about you? What caught your eye? I'll fire a question back at you.
Toyota 86 is running 5 wide, 4 wide, 3 wide, whatever it was, wide, 2 wide, side by side, sliding out and somehow not crashing. I just thought all those kids in that paddock, many of which are 15, 16 years old, I thought they just did a brilliant job.
And one more question for you, because I can't help myself. You know I can't. For anybody that's thinking of having a holiday up here, you are the foodie. What is your restaurant of choice for people to visit when they come to Townsville?
How much time do we have on this pod?
What's the list?
That's the list. Gyo is my favourite Japanese restaurant. You'd agree with that?
I had you pegged for Gyo. That's I sort of led the witness.
Led the witness a little bit there. That is absolutely my favourite spot, although you and I have hoed into many a chicken wing in this location as well. So we'll have to do that next year.
Thanks, mate. See ya.
Always cool to see Andy Jones up here. And yeah, he's the driver coach. So when he says he wanted to shout out his boy Jack Smith, that is exactly who he's talking about. And Jack doing a nice job bringing his car home inside the top 15 spots today. We are at the back of Brad Jones Racing, as you can imagine. And I think Andre Heimgartner has every reason to be very happy with how he's going right now.
6 in the championship, Chad. That's really impressive, and we'll say up and down this pit lane, we say every week how competitive this sport is. And to be top 6 with a team that is in a small country town, they run 4 cars, it's a massive operation for BJR. And the fact that he's reeling off podiums almost every weekend, you know, you can start to say, well, is he a championship contender? Well, the points will dictate that. We've got 2 endurance races to come, but man, he is really a genuine factor.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see them have a good run in the endurance races as well when they get Dale Wood back, who's been running in Carrera Cup this weekend. They're a team that is just really humming along with their Camaros at the moment. Ditto that Bryce Ford. The 2 of them were really quick early in the week. I actually just spotted Bryce popping out the back with his family. So we're going to see if we can get him on the cool-down lap. On the pod, brother. You're walking out with your race suit down and your helmet in your hand and a bit of a smile on your face.
Yeah, not too bad a weekend for us, really. Last stint in that last race didn't quite go to plan for us. I feel like we were really speedy in the first and second stint. Last stint, same as yesterday, to be honest. Didn't quite light up for us, but hey, really strong weekend for our team. 2 top 10s for me, starting from 15th up to 9th. Really happy.
Bryce, I mean, key learnings from this weekend. We're back to long races, but the thing about Sydney next round, long-ish race, 200 Ks, bit of a hybrid race as well. So is there anything you can carry over to a track that is also pretty hard on tyres?
I think the learning probably is more to do with the deg. There's a lot of cars out there, as we've seen, that are pretty speedy but can't hold the tyre on it. So I feel like we've made pretty good inroads on tyre deg, and I feel like that's how we made some spots today. So it's a balancing act as to how fast you have the car and how much it chews the tyre out. But coming to SMP, it's quite a different track to what we've got here. But hopefully the package works there and we can continue on our strong run.
Nice work. We'll let you get back to it, mate. He's probably keen to go and get changed, take the sweaty, stinky race suit off and chuck that in the washer dryer for the trip home. We'll quickly duck into Team 18 because they flew, we always seem to be saying this, under the radar, but getting more and more good results. So both cars home in the top 10, I think, in the end for that Sunday race. I want to particularly mention Scott Pye's effort on the Saturday race. So Scott was last after the first lap after getting shuffled back through the pack and then had this monstrous comeback to finish, inside the top 5 on Saturday? That was a great drive.
Yeah, and Frosty today was they're silent assassins, these guys.
Yeah.
Obviously that win in Darwin put them in the headlines, but to bring home results where you don't really see them on the screen, but they're just, all of a sudden they're coming in top 6, top 7. That's important for these guys in these big races as well. So they'll be keen to get to Sydney, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think they'll be quick again when we get down to Sydney. I'm just going to quickly duck next door because I can see a couple of Erebus boys that might be making their way out to the airport very quickly. We'll see if we can quickly grab Will. He looks like a man who's bound for the airport. He's got his bag. I seem to be doing this every week when I get you on the podcast, mate. Big smile on your face. Championship picture well and truly live, a race win. How do you feel leaving Townsville?
Yeah, I feel great. That last one was a bit of a schmozzle with when the safety car got pulled, but that was all right. It made for some great racing. But to be leading the championship after this weekend, I keep going each round. It'd be great to be top 3 after this weekend and to be clawing back and now be leading the championship's awesome. And it's cool to see how close it is up the front. You know, Brock's doing a fantastic job, Brody is, and Shane as well is still up there. So I think it's going to be pretty exciting. It sounded like there was a good bit of chatting going on between the Red Bulls. So we'll let them fight it out between them and see how we go.
Well, good start of the year in Sydney for you guys testing, so we're going back there now. Bit of confidence for you guys. Clearly, you got the orange numbers. Brody's quick as well. But how are you going to spend the next 3 weeks trying to make sure that you consolidate this lead?
Yeah, it's just one of those things. I got a bit of a sore back in that one, so I want to get that sorted. Want to start building the fitness up for Sandown and Bathurst. But we're sort of rolling out pretty good at most rounds. Darwin was our worst, and we still had a good weekend there. So just got to keep the ball rolling. And days like today where we sort of got beaten around a bit at the start, went back to 12th. To come back to 6th is what you need to do on these days when you don't have probably the best start.
Hey, your co-driver Jack Perkins had a shocker in Super 2, not his own fault, taken out in qualifying and then never got a lap of racing in. So your thoughts about how the Image Racing team went in the 150th Dunlop Series round?
Yeah, the poor bugger. What happened in qualifying wasn't his fault. It was just a disappointing thing. And, in that Super 2, they probably need to make sure the engineers are really on the radios letting them know. But, yeah, disappointing that he didn't get many laps, but he'll be fine. The Image Racing boys are doing a good job. They just need to tidy up a little bit in qualifying with, I guess, all the red flags. There's so many red flags in Super 2. It's trying to get the tyre time right on the green tyre. But Jay Hansen's doing a great job. He was quick in practice, just didn't get to put it together.
Absolutely. All right, mate, thank you very much. We'll let you get back to it. Don't want him to miss his flight. And we will duck off to a quick break as well. We do have still plenty more to discover on the Schick Cool Down Lap, plus our Schick Cool 3 moments from the weekend, so stick around.
Experience a close shave and no more sensitive skin with Schick. Schick Hydro Sensitive with shock absorb technology helps to protect sensitive skin from irritation. Available at all major supermarkets.
Okay, let's keep on rolling down the back of the paddock. I see teams madly packing up, and we have come to the Grove team, which is Penrite Racing. And it's been a little bit of a tough weekend for this team in particular. Let's just quickly touch on how the Penrite Racing story unfolded this weekend. And I did see Matt Payne. He looked a little bit sore at the end of this one as well. But particularly tough weekend, it would seem, for these guys.
Yeah, I think the key for these guys, or the headline for them, is good one-lap pace, but they couldn't really convert in the races. I think a lot of teams obviously struggle with rear grip. You're blowing off the tyres. It's a long race. You're trying to work out where you are. But obviously Reynolds was turned around late by Macaulay Jones, I believe, as well.
Yeah.
So it's not as though they were without pace. They were without luck too, but they were looking to Sydney, I'm sure.
I can see Matt Payne down here. He's being a good lad, and he's helping to sweep up the floor down here. He's also stopped looking somewhat forlornly at his car. Hey, Eddie, we're on the podcast, brother. Just wanted to see how you're sweeping the floors up, see your technique down here. You look to be almost limping when you got out of the car today. Were you okay?
Just hot feet. We run the pedal box so far forward in my car, and it's probably, when I'm full throttle, it's like 10 mil from the firewall. So just got a hot right foot, and was struggling a little bit there at the end of the race, but we made it. Probably not in the position we wanted to, but hey, we had good quality cars, we just didn't have great race cars. So,
Matty, we're 6 rounds into 12 rounds, your first season in Supercars. Where's your report card at? Where's your head at with how you've gone this season? Is it above expectation, below expectation? Where are you?
I think our qualifying performance, has been really good. Especially this weekend, we should have had 2 top 10s. But I think our race car, just being not so good, has made it hard in the races to get a clean top 10 result. It's definitely a struggle out there when you're just burning up tyres and just can't last the race stints, and it's hard work. So I think qualifying wise, I think I'm doing pretty good, but racing it's not as good as we like. I think me and Dave are both in the same boat and have the same mindset of we need to work on our race cars, and we need to find out how we can just last longer on the tyres.
Fair enough. All right, we'll let you get back to it. Sorry to hear about your right foot being a bit sore. Thanks, Matty. It's all good, he says. Yeah, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. He's a big kid, and he's a tough fella, so he'll be back. Part of that Grove Junior program. Just on that, we saw Grove Junior racer and Oscar Target doing some laps this weekend in the Toyota Guzzi Racing Australia 86 series. So really fantastic young program that they're running here in this garage, doing a very nice job. We're walking past the TV host desk, which has been in the NTI Nick Percat garage here this weekend. So probably the perfect time to pick up our conversation about Walkinshaw and Andretti United. And the big news for this team was, they went and put it on the podium, which was a very nice job for these guys on Saturday with Chaz Mostert.
Yeah, it was a weekend of ups and downs for this team, obviously clear. I mean, Chaz wasn't superbly happy with the result, considering he had to do a 3-stop to get there. But a podium's a podium. These guys should be proud. But again, the ups and downs of motorsport didn't last very long today with the suspected power steering problem and a second DNF of the season for Chaz, which really, really hurts his championship because these races are worth 150 points. So, it's a tough day for these guys, but they'll be back for sure.
The other thing that's a big talking point with this team this weekend, I can't ever remember a time when they've had more race car drivers at a racetrack. So they had 2 cars in Supercars, 2 cars in the Dunlop Series. They had They had Fabian Coulthard racing in Porsches, not entered by Walkinshaw Andretti United. And then this guy, Matt Hillier, who's out the back, and he's helping the team to pack up right now by taking down the demountable tent. So I'm going to see if I can quickly get a word with him as he does his work here on the podcast, so you can keep pulling tents down at the same time if you want. How did you find being one of the Walkinshaw Andretti United drivers here this weekend doing your job?
Yeah, it was definitely a great experience. Had a hard weekend, caught in the chaos in the race 1 and 2, possibly because of the mechanical failure in qualifying, but in race 3 was able to make a good bounce back, making up 13 positions. So that was a great achievement, gives us good confidence for going into round 2 at Sydney in a couple of weeks' time.
How good is this? When you stop to do media interviews, you get to stop packing up, it would seem, although I reckon a few of the team members might not be so agreeable.
Yeah, not sure Benny's too happy about that, but yeah.
He's a good driver.
He's a good driver and a terrible tent packer-upper. What are your hopes and dreams, Matty, for the future?
Oh, obviously just try to keep learning, using the knowledge around me, using the guys who obviously have heaps of knowledge and experience, and just learn as much as I can.
Perfect. There you go. Heard it here first, James. Thank you, mate.
Thank you very much.
We're letting get back to helping pack the big tent up down here. I just wanted to quickly check in with some of the youthful drivers, since we were just talking about it off the back of the Grove Junior program, but definitely a big one in the works here at Walkinshaw Andretti United. Seems like a nice young guy. He's got a bit of Will Brown about him. He's doing Formula Ford racing and Toyota 86 in the 1 year. He's winning that Formula Ford championship as well. So if you can follow the likes of Garth Tander and all those legends, Nick Percat, who have come before him from Formula Ford into that team at Walkinshaw Andretti United, he'll be doing a good job.
It's fantastic to see teams giving young kids a go, because there is so much potential and so much, I like to say unknown, because you give these kids a chance, they will perform, and Matty's a good example of that, but obviously Oscar at Grove as well, and all the Supercars teams, a lot of big teams as well, I should add, are getting back into Super 2 this year, and they're performing. WAU, Ryan Wood won both races in Perth, so these kids are performing when given a chance.
Absolutely. Speaking of young drivers making good their careers, I've spotted Declan Fraser. He's having a chat with Tim Edwards and some of the other family guys. I'll get Decker over for a quick word. Bailey Hall and his family having a chat with Tim Edwards in the background. He's one of the young Porsche stars up and coming. North Queensland's own, you've done it, mate. You have raced a Supercars event at your, I'll call it your home track. I know you're not from Townsville per se, but your thoughts now when you look back at it?
Yeah, it's a pretty decent weekend, I guess, in the racing. We had a pretty bad problem in that last race. The fuel actually didn't go in the car, so we had to come back in and take another stop to get another 10 seconds extra. So I think 10 seconds up the road was like 12th, and that would have been a really good result for us. But all in all, pretty happy. Found some gains within myself, within the car, the new aero package. So I'm just trying to work out setups and stuff around that. So I guess all in all, it was a good weekend for our team. And yeah, now we got a couple more weeks and we go racing again.
Deco, it was good to see the 777 back.
Yeah, I want to keep it. But
will they let you keep it?
Probably not. I think it was more of a good job for the start of the season, and to come back to my home crowd. Everyone sort of knew my number is 777, so to have that back on was pretty special, and I'm massively grateful to Tickford for allowing it. Like I said, we'd like to have it on for the rest of the year, but go back to the Tickford traditions, basically.
Where did 777 come from? How did that start?
I went to Vegas one year. Yeah, I was 15 years old though, so not a very fun story. No, we raced the World Karting Championship thing over there, and I just ran 777 because I thought it was really cool going to Vegas, and I thought I'd
like
drop
the
a little.
slots.
Well, I done a sticker kit with slot machines and stuff like that, and that's where the idea came from. And then from there, I just thought it was a sick number, and I just kept it. So I wanted to run it in go-karts in Australia, but they're only 2 numbers. So, yes.
Right, there you go. That's the background.
A podcast revelation, as you will.
Headline right there, 777 reason revealed with Declan Fraser.
Dec, we've spoken to a few guys up and down pit lane as well. We're 6 rounds in 12. What's your report card? Where do you feel? Are you happy with where you're at? Do you think you could have achieved more? Where's your head at with your season so far?
That is a heavy question. That is heavy.
I'm a journalist. I've got to do these duties. I'm so sorry.
Well, I am very, very, very self-critical of myself, probably a little bit too much at times. The team have told me that I'm doing a really, really good job, and they're happy with my progress and everything, and I've closed the gap to the other guys in the team. But for me, on a personal level, I don't like where I am in the championship. I don't like where we're qualifying. I need to just, there's a few areas that need to be improved on, but like I said, the team are happy, and I guess for me it's keeping a cool head, getting through my rookie season, and just learning as much as possible.
Fair enough. There you go. Thank you for the honesty. Is that a better or worse report card than you used to bring home at school?
I think the school one was the typical gets distracted easily and talks to too many people. So
That was good at phys ed.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
That sounds awfully familiar, actually.
yeah,
Thanks,
that's
Decker.
it. Thanks, guys.
Well done, mate. And hopefully we'll see him getting the results that he so craves. Just on the topic of young drivers, this might be a good time to duck into our Schick Hydro 3 moments of the weekend, because I wouldn't mind starting, if you don't mind, with a couple of really great performances in Dunlop Super 2.
Well, we were saying before how much the talent is just bubbling to the surface, but when an 18-year-old can win a race in Super 2 after winning races in Super 3 and coming through, Kai Allen, he's a name for the future, and he really is one to keep an eye on, because he's a kid that keeps getting in cars and keeps getting to the front. Eggleston Motorsport are a team that is massive on young kids' development and competing, but to see that win yesterday was really impressive. But also, on the other side of that, he could have won both races if he really put up a big fight for it today, but he let Zach through, didn't lose points in an incident. That shows a lot of maturity, and for a kid of 18, very impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. We had Aaron Seaton get his first Armour All Pole Award. Kai Allen got his first pole award as well here today on race day Sunday. And Zane Morse, I just want to give this guy a big pat on the back, because
Biggest smile on the paddock shed.
Well, he had a huge grin on his face when he walked back off the podium, and well might he. First time on the podium. They've invested just so much time and money and effort into this sport, the Morse family. An old school privateer sort of set up from back in the day. They're not aligned to the teams that we're standing between right now, DJ or Chickford, or one of those sort of image racing teams that has Erebus in their corner as well. So I really thought that was a big result for Zane Morse today, and for his dad Andre. They could all celebrate that one, and well might they, because that was hard earned.
Well, the lifeblood of our sport in 20, 25 years ago, it's about privateers, guys who would come against the big money teams and really give it a crack. And Zane has been around for a while, but this is a big result for him, and it's important that the sport showcases these results, because people graft their whole life to get there. He pulled it off. He watched Kai Allen and Zach Best fight for the win, but he didn't do anything rash to try and get them, try and get the headline moment. He stuck it out and got a trophy. It's really well deserved.
Number 2 on our Schick Hydro 3 is going to be the battles that we saw in that last race of the day. There was quite a bit going on there, particularly around Andre Heimgartner's car.
Holy smokes. I mean, we talk about how feisty Andre is and how hard he works to get those positions, but Brock Feeney, 20 years of age, Andre is, I think Andre's 28, 27, but those guys put in a really, really good battle. When you're crisscrossing around corners like, I think it was turns 12 and 13, hard racing, clean racing, hard racing.
Yep.
And it's the racing that Gen 3 offered to provide, and they delivered, and they didn't ruin their cars as well. So their team should be proud, and I think, Brad spoke in the presser how proud he is of Andre as well, and, a really good battle. I really enjoyed it.
Absolutely, but the number one moment has to be Ford breaking through for their first win in the Gen 3 era. Agree on that?
Well, we're just watching the girls walk past with the trophy now. That's
yes,
a big trophy.
They are. They do have a very big trophy down here at Shelby Power Racing for their efforts, so they should be thrilled with that one. I can see Anton Di Pasquale having a chat with Ludo Lacroix. They were able to utilise a 3-stop strategy. Actually, that's another thing that we should probably mention, 2 and 3-stop strategies. We haven't talked about it yet. How cool to see strategy differences back this weekend, and a few teams, one on Saturday with a 2-stopper and then one on Sunday with a 3-stopper.
Well, super sprint races is blink and you miss it, but it's so easy to forget in those races. We have some of the smartest minds in world motorsport in this pit lane, and they have to go to work in these longer races with strategy. How do we beat the opposition? How can we use the speed in our cars? You might have the fastest car, but you've got to really make it work. And Anton, I think he started 6th.
Yeah.
And in these long races, where you start doesn't
at one
really
point
matter.
He was last because he pitted first. Yeah.
But really clever strategy. But you've also got to pull it off. I mean, a lot of guys were saying, well, he had new tyres because he didn't finish yesterday's race, but you have to deliver it still.
He did.
I was watching the live timing and it was coming down 11 seconds, 10 seconds. Obviously, Brody and Andre were fighting, but it was coming down 5 seconds. He still delivered. It's a big win for this team, and they put a lot of pressure on themselves.
Well, let's see if we can get a quick word off Anton. He's I wouldn't say helping the team pack up, but when you win, you can stand there and have a big smile on your face and be a legend. You were helping a little bit earlier as well, but hey mate, we just want to say well done and congratulations on getting back to the top step. How cool did that feel? And then sitting there in the press conference next to the new boss, fielding some questions. It's like this team has been working so hard for that, and it was deserved.
Yeah, on the truck pack, I know where my helmet goes and the rest. We've got enough capable people, they know what's going on, and I just slow the process up. So I bet I've just grabbed my bag and watching. But yeah, pretty cool to be back on the podium and ultimately winning, which is an amazing feeling. So I've come close here a couple times, so to get one done is it's an awesome feeling. Such a cool track.
12 months ago, the race ended a bit differently down there, but I mean, the way that you drove today was straight, it was easy. You know, there was so much going on. I was said to Chad just then, watching the live timing, the seconds were coming down, but you just drove a straight race. But how much coaching does Ludo give you in those moments? Think, you know, these guys are coming.
Yeah, very similar actually in a way, like driving to the last year's race. Racing Shane, but the strategy didn't work out for us last year and everything. But today I was able just to run my own race and had an amazing pace through the middle part of that race, which worked out for us. The car looked after its tyres, and then to top it off, obviously the safety car made life a hell of a lot easier. I didn't have to come back and pass anyone else. I was sort of in the prime position. So yeah, all the stars aligned, but ultimately still had to have some speed to get it done. So yeah, it's cool.
We were saying also just then about how these races are so different from the super sprint races. You know, where car speed, basically, you got to make your stop. You either make a stop early, you make a stop late, you are where you are. But do you enjoy these longer races more?
Yeah, there's especially around here and this year, probably more than ever, there is a fair bit of element of strategy. We haven't seen a 3-stopper have potential here that I can remember. So this year it had real potential. Both days, obviously Chaz yesterday and myself today. So that's really cool, and I think I enjoy these kind of races. You settle into a groove. There's an element of setting up the car right for the race and thinking about things before it, rather than just we pit for 2 tyres when the other guy does, or before him or after him. So there's an element of that, and there's a little bit different style of racing, and you get a lot less dudes doing massive dive bombs into your door and doing crazy things as well, which is good. The race kind of settles down, but there's a lot of hard racing, but it's generally always a little bit cleaner when they know they got 200 k's to do with bench steering. So yeah,
absolutely. Hey, well done, mate.
Thank you. Cheers, guys.
Good on him. It's cool to see Ford get back to the top, and that's the first win there as well with David Noble going to the press conference. You can go and check that out on Supercars YouTube. That one also went out live on Fox Sports. And we'll probably wrap it up, actually. We've reached our time. I can see a few of the Red Bull guys still packing up out here as well. Brock Feeney, we'll give this guy all the plaudits in the world for picking up the most points this weekend. And we'd be remiss of us to not mention Shane's epic drive as well in NASCAR. And I'm looking forward to seeing what that means for everybody up and down this paddock in the coming future.
25th to 5th today as well. So the man's had to work hard. Jet lag in between. I know jet lag, I know how it feels. I'm battling it right now. And but, you know, it's impressive from both guys. And I know that today would have been a bit bruising for them with the way it ended, but you still got to perform. 4th and 5th, you know, your bad days, you've still got to score points to win championships. And these guys did that today.
Quick one, BP Ultimate Top Performer. You can vote for that one online. Got a name for me?
Oh, man, where do you start? I mean,
I know, it's really hard today.
Will Brown yesterday showed all the prowess of a guy who wants to win a championship. We spoke to him earlier in the pod, and he's switched on. Obviously, Brody yesterday was tough. Bounced back today. Again, championship, thinking smart. Both Red Bull guys, I think, were really impressive. Obviously, Shane was battling with car gremlins all weekend. Still drove from 25th to 5th. Yeah. Don't forget, he got turned around at the end of the first lap. So he really had to work for it, and obviously Brock as well. But I think Anton today just performed at a level that we know he can. It's obviously been a tough year for those guys, but yeah, it's good to see.
Cool. I'll throw Brock Feeney's name into the mix. Most points this weekend, even though he didn't win a race, which he's been doing a lot of lately, still getting the points. So thank you very much for listening to the Schick Cool Down Lap. I'm looking forward to getting to our next event, which will be under lights, sort of like we are right now, but a little further south of where we're standing. Sydney is coming up. Looking forward to that one. Go to bed, get some sleep, whatever it is that you need to shake off the jet lag.
Well, no, the cricket's on tonight,
yeah,
so
we'll probably
we're in
just go
trouble.
back and watch more sport. Thanks very much for having a listen. We'll catch you next time on the Schick Cool Down Lap podcast.